All right, the final bell has just rung on the New York session today, February 25th, 2026, and the data hitting the tape right now is the most catastrophic evidence of a systemic breakdown I have ever seen. John A.G. has been tracking the paper-to-physical disconnect for years, but what we witnessed in the last 4 hours of trading is the definitive end of the old price discovery mechanism. The New York close didn't just end a trading day, it ended a multi-decade era of bank-led silver suppression. While the mainstream news is feeding you garbage about a stabilizing economy, the internal metrics of the Comex and the LBMA are screaming that the liquidity has officially dried up. We are looking at a market that is no longer behaving like a commodity. It is behaving like a cornered animal, and the predators in the East are ready to finish the job. The registered silver inventory at the Comex has just suffered a final crushing blow in the settlement period. We are now seeing numbers that effectively put the exchange at a zero offer status for the upcoming March delivery window. John A.G. is looking at the delivery notices as they are being filed, and the demand for physical metal is currently outstripping the available supply by a ratio of 8 to 1. This is a mathematical impossibility. You cannot perform on a contract if the vault is empty, and today the vault didn't just move towards zero, it functionally hit the bottom. The bullion banks are frantically trying to roll over positions to May and July, but the longs are standing their ground. They don't want the cash, they want the bars, and the banks simply do not have them. Look at the divergence in the global premiums as we head into the overnight Eastern session. The Shanghai Gold Exchange premium over the London spot has just gapped up to a record-shattering $18 per ounce. This is no longer arbitrage. This is a global evacuation of silver from the west to the east. John A.G. has told you before that the vacuum effect would eventually leave New York in the dust, and tonight that vacuum has turned into a jet engine. Every refinery in Europe is now shipping directly to the east because the western price is a ghost. If you are trying to buy silver at the New York spot price, you are trying to buy a product that doesn't exist. The market has halted in all but name, and the exit for the paper shorts is now officially closed. The Wednesday blackout we discussed earlier has escalated into a full-scale digital crisis within the clearinghouses. We have confirmed reports that 2 of the major clearing banks for the precious metals markets had to manualize their settlement processes this afternoon. They are claiming a cyber incident, but John A.G. knows that this is a classic freeze and reset maneuver. When the leverage gets too high and the physical metal disappears, the only way to prevent a total price explosion is to turn off the machines. This is the trap I've been warning you about. While the screens were flickering and the accounts were under maintenance, the big players were shuffling the deck to save themselves from a total default. The industrial demand from the solar sector is no longer a future problem. It is a right-now crisis that is breaking the supply chain. We have primary sources reporting that a major Tier 1 solar manufacturer in Germany has filed for force majeure because they cannot fulfill their orders due to a lack of silver paste. They are offering $200 an ounce for physical grain in the private market, yet the Comex says the price is under $50. John A.G. asks you, which price is real? The price on the screen that allows no delivery, or the price on the street that keeps the factories running? The industrial world has realized that silver is the miracle metal of the 21st century, and they are now competing directly with the monetary buyers for every single gram. The Mexico mining strike has just taken a dark turn as the unions have blocked the transport routes to the northern border. Mexico is the world's leading producer, and with production now completely halted for over 10 days, the global deficit has expanded by another 15 million ounces. John A.G. is tracking the lead times for wholesale silver, and they have jumped from immediate to unknown. We are entering a period where money will not be able to buy you silver because there simply is none for sale. The miners know they have the leverage, and they are refusing to dig for a currency that is being printed into oblivion. They want a new deal, and they want it backed by the very metal they produce. The $35 trillion debt wall is no longer a distant mountain. It is a collapsing glacier that is falling directly onto the banking system. The interest payments on the U.S. national debt have just surpassed the military budget for the first time in history. This is the definition of insolvency. The Federal Reserve is trapped between hyperinflation if they cut rates and a systemic collapse if they keep them high. John A.G. sees the choice they've made. They will protect the banks by bailing in the public's deposits. The legislative framework is already in place. If your wealth is digital, it is a liability. If your wealth is silver, it is an asset. This is the ultimate financial warfare education, and the first lesson is that he who has the metal makes the rules. Look at the gold to silver ratio as we close the day. It has just undergone the most violent one-day compression in history, dropping from 80 to 1 to 68 to 1 in a single session. This is the great revaluation that John A.G. has been preparing you for. Silver is catching up to gold at a speed that is leaving the algorithms in a state of shock. When this ratio hits its historical mean of 15 to 1, the price of silver will be in a territory that the mainstream experts called impossible. We are watching the birth of a bimetallic standard in real time. The East has already moved, the miners have already moved, and now the registered vaults have hit the limit. The spring is no longer coiling, it is expanding and it is destroying everything in its path. Every time the banks tried to smash the price today, the volume of long buying increased. This is a complete change in market psychology. In the past, a smash would cause panic selling. Today, the smash caused a buying frenzy. John A.G. identifies this as smart money finally entering the arena. The family offices and the private wealth funds are realizing that the paper trap is about to snap shut. They are dumping their bonds and their tech stocks to get into hard assets. They aren't buying the ETFs like SLV, they are buying the allocated bars and taking them into private storage. The liquidity is being sucked out of the system, and the banks are the ones who are now naked in a hurricane. The Wednesday blackout isn't just a glitch, it's a precursor to the central bank digital currency and CBDC rollout. They want to move you from a failing system into a digital cage where every transaction can be monitored and adjusted. John A.G. knows that silver is the ultimate privacy asset. You cannot track a silver coin, you cannot expire a silver bar, and you cannot turn off someone's physical wealth. This is why the establishment is so desperate to keep the silver price low. They want to discourage you from owning the one thing that gives you total financial independence. But the data says their plan has failed. People are choosing the physical reality over the digital illusion in record numbers. Let's talk about the I sell nothing philosophy. John A.G. doesn't have a course to sell you, no signals to trade, and no inner circle for a fee. I am here to provide the raw intelligence because I want to see the average man survive this controlled demolition of the economy. The information I'm giving you regarding the registered to eligible shifts at the Comex is public data that is hidden in plain sight. Most people are too busy watching the distraction of the day to see the vault door being kicked in. But you are here, and you are watching the tape. The truth is the most valuable commodity in 2026, and tonight, the truth is that the West has run out of silver. The central banks of the BRICS nations have just issued a joint statement regarding a commodity-backed settlement unit. This is the nail in the coffin for the US dollar. If the world's major producers of oil, gas, and silver decide to trade in a unit backed by those very assets, the demand for the dollar drops to zero overnight. John A.G. is tracking the repo markets, and the collateral shortage is reaching a crisis point. They need the metal to back the new system, and they are taking it from the Comex. We are watching a hostile takeover of the global financial system by the people who actually produce the wealth. The paper changers are being expelled from the temple, and they are leaving empty-handed. The industrial hunger for silver in 2026 has reached a point where the military-industrial complex is now competing with the solar companies. Every high-tech missile, every satellite, and every advanced communication system requires silver for its superior conductivity. John A.G. has confirmed that the strategic national stockpile of silver in several Western nations has been depleted to satisfy urgent defense requirements. They are cannibalizing their own reserves to keep their machines running. This means there is no backstop, there is no government rescue coming. When the vaults hit zero, the market will simply stop trading. The price will be no offer, meaning you can't have it at any price. The face of shock in the thumbnails, that is the face of the institutional trader who realizes he is short 50 million ounces, and his sub-custodian just told him they have zero metal. John A.G. sees this panic in the order flow. We are seeing panic covering in the last 30 minutes of the New York trade. They were buying at any price, yet the price barely moved. Why? Because there were no sellers. The ask side of the book was empty. This is what a broken market looks like. It's like a car with a 200 mph speedometer that is out of gas. The potential is there, the engineering is there, but the fuel, the physical silver, is gone. Mexico's move to consider nationalization of their silver mines is the ultimate black swan for the paper markets. If the Mexican government decides that silver is a strategic asset and stops all exports to the U.S., the Comex will default within 48 hours. John A.G. is monitoring the diplomatic cables, and the tension is at an all-time high. The resource war has moved from oil to the metals of the new economy. If you don't own the physical metal in a jurisdiction you trust, you are at the mercy of geopolitics. This is why, if you don't hold it, you don't own it, is the most important sentence in the financial world today. The bail-in scenario is live because the derivatives bubble has finally popped. We are talking about quadrillions of dollars in leverage that is built on a tiny base of physical collateral. John A.G. has shown you the pyramid. It's upside down. The silver market is the apex of that pyramid. When the silver base collapses due to a lack of physical metal, the entire quadrillion-dollar structure falls with it. This is why the Wednesday blackout was so important. It was an attempt to gird the loins of the system before the total collapse. but you cannot patch a system that is fundamentally out of the raw material it needs to exist. We are heading into the first notice day for the March contract in less than 48 hours. This is the end game. John A.G. predicts that we will see a record number of fails to deliver. This isn't just a technicality, it's a legal default. When the biggest names on Wall Street cannot deliver 1,000-ounce bars to their clients, the counterparty trust vanishes instantly. Every other commodity market, gold, copper, platinum, will follow silver into the abyss of no offer. We are witnessing the death of the futures exchange model and the rebirth of the physical trade model. The middleman is being cut out, and the truth is being revealed. The John A.G. logo is a symbol of financial warfare education because we are in a war. It's a war for your savings, a war for your future, and a war for the truth. The banks have the media, the politicians, and the printing presses. But we have the tape, we have the numbers, and most importantly, we have the physical. Today's closing data is a total validation for everyone who ignored the hype and focused on the registered drain. We are on the right side of history, and the great wealth transfer is no longer a coming event. It is the event we are living through right now. The $35 trillion system is dead. It just hasn't realized it yet. As the London market prepares to open for the next session, the ask prices in the private dealer networks have already jumped another 10%. John A.G. is seeing silver bars being traded for gold bars at a ratio of 40-to-1 in the shadow markets. The official price is a joke. The real price is being set by the people who actually have the metal. This is the market decoupling in its final stage. By the time the mainstream media tells you to buy silver, there will be none left to buy. You are the early minority who saw the math, tracked the tape, and prepared for the Wednesday blackout. Stay disciplined, stay focused. I'll leave you with this final thought for the evening update. The exit is closed, the vaults are empty, the bail-in is live. John A.G. will be back at 3 a.m. for the midnight tape update as the Eastern markets react to the New York carnage. We are entering the most volatile 48-hour window in the history of the precious metals markets. If you are in the physical, you have a seat on the lifeboat. If you are in the paper, you are part of the ship. Watch the premiums, watch the registered numbers, and for the love of everything, stay sharp. The world is changing tonight. All right, I'm out.